Councillor Holloway is on holiday today, so she's standing in. Please bear with me. Apologies for absence.
Councillors Lincoln, McGregor and Holloway.
And any declarations of interest?
Personal interest 23
Anyone? I need to give interest in personal interest in number 5. Personal interest in number 20, my wife's allotment holder. Personal interest in number 23C. Announcements. Councillors have received and should have read items A through to F, so I won't go through them. Item E, I'll just put out a point, that's the community infrastructure levy. The clerk and I discussed this afternoon whether or not the council would wish to put a draft report, a draft response to go onto the website that's mentioned in that document. I filled it in this afternoon and it doesn't look as though there's a facility for a group to fill it in, so I advise everybody to take a look at it and fill it in individually. And I'm assuming Councillor want that maybe the plan with Councillor.
Yes, I know that Councillor Wenham, when we were at the plan meeting last week, he had previously tried to object to that fact that Arlesey had been placing the lowest banding for silver money, that he had not been successful in those in getting that change. He did say that he thought some of the reasoning behind that decision was flawed or flaky at best. But I did ask him by email to elaborate on that, but he hasn't as yet come back to me. So I think it's worth having a conversation with Councillor Wenham just to see what his thoughts are on that process.
Okay.
Because obviously the key being that Arlesey would get significantly less silver money because we're in the lowest band out of the 3.
There is an opportunity, I don't know how many people have gone on the site and looked at the form, but on the form there is an opportunity to sort of express an interest and actually comment on up to 7 items. There's 7 items there and you can request to have updates on that, and one of them is banding. So based on what Councillor Want has just said, it would be a good idea if we all fill it in individually to pull out banding in particular and make that point. So, and also encourage residents to do the same, because anyone can fill this in. It's on the website. As soon as you click on it, you go straight to that page. So.
I'd be surprised if we can't comment as a council there as well. It may not be able to do it, because I think there is something on there that says you can do it by other means. If you contact CDC directly, you can. I think we may be able to respond as a council.
Can we put something on the website?
Yeah, the website is for individuals.
No, on the ATC website, the link for people if they want to fill it in.
The form is definitely personalised.
Yeah, but I think we should be able to comment as a council.
Right, have you got that letter? So, the fun day, I think it was, generally the feeling was it was a great success. There was a kind of an ad hoc survey I think Councillor Ward carried out. I read through the comments there, and there were no negative comments other than things that are outside of human capabilities, like there was too much wind, for example. And there's a lot of good ideas for how it might be improved in the future, which I think will go into, I think Councillor Sarle's got some ideas on the agenda tonight. So far we've had donations to £368, was it?
Yeah.
And I will just read out this from Biggleswade Sandy Lions Club. Dear Leslie, congratulations to you and your team for all the hard work to make the fun day a success. Please accept an enclosed cheque for £25 payable to ATC as a donation to the Mayor's charity. Please contact me when plans are taking shape for next year's event. So that's from Biggleswade Lions, and I'd just like to express mine and I think the Council's appreciation for what Leslie and the Town Council staff in particular have done. During the period of transition, they've held it together, and all in all it was a good day.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, I have an announcement to read out to Council here. This is point H. Arlesey Town Council have been advised of an action by a previous member of staff against the Council. Please be advised that this may result in legal and/or settlement costs. Details of this matter will be discussed as exempt items from this point forward until the matter is resolved. And the next thing is the update on the yellow lines. I've got here a communication from Nick Shaw, and it says, I'll read the whole thing out, it's short. Further to the meetings you have already had with colleagues regarding the parking study for Arlesey in the areas adjacent to the railway station, I have produced an informative below which sets out the scheme and how I intend to progress this. The resident survey will be forwarded to you once finalised by colleagues at Amy, prior to it being distributed to residents. Please come back to me if you would like to discuss any of the points or plans for implementation of this scheme. That was addressed to Councillor Wenham Delgado, Public to Arlesey Town Council. So that's where we are. I know some people have spoken to members of the public to say that there is a report out, and I've heard clients that it's comprehensive and so on, but it looks as though, reading what Nick Shaw is saying, it's not for public consumption at this point in time. And an update on the Twin Acres appeal. The Twin Acres appeal was held today. Councillor Inniscog and Councillor Delgado attended. The people who were appealing were well briefed and well supported as usual. I think there was a site visit planned for this afternoon. Brief feedback I had from Councillor Inniscog is that she's not optimistic. We'll have a couple of weeks to wait on that. Okay, just before we move on, I've never chaired a meeting before, so forgive me if I stumble. But I have read for the first time every word 5 or 6 times in the standing orders, and I will try to keep us on the track of following rules 27, 28, 29, but rules for debate, which are fundamentally different to what I've ever seen carried out at council. So it should be a shorter meeting this evening if we follow our standing orders. Members' questions?
I'm not sure if this should be now or matters arising, but a question regarding the football goals which came up a couple of months ago. We were applying for funding of those. I wonder whether there's an update on how successful we've been.
I submitted the application at the end of June and I've got an acknowledgement back at the beginning of July and I'm still waiting. So we've got the money through for the play area, but I don't know whether these goals have been accepted or not yet.
Thank you.
Okay, statement to council. This is item for me personally. Well, the only statement I've got to make now is that I have taken some advice on public participation on the 7th of July, and the statement I was intending to make to council, I've been advised that this time is not the time to make that statement, so that's the end of my statement, I'm afraid. But we've got to do things properly, so public participation.
Well, no one's registered, but they don't have to register anymore, so I don't know if anyone wants to make a presentation or not.
Okay, minutes of the previous meeting. To consider the minutes of the Town Council meeting held on the 7th of July. Everybody's got the minutes of this evening.
I'll make one suggestion. I've just read 27, so I'm not sure if this is a complete change to the minutes, but under item 121, where I reported back on the Graffiti meeting, the first sentence we've got there being a change in curriculum, which is correct. The second part of it, which says which has made an impact on performance levels, is kind of accurate, but I think gives slightly the wrong picture. I think I'd probably report that more as the school and pupils were meeting the challenge of the new curriculum and not any of the days. I don't recall mentioning impact on performance in the meeting, if I understand correctly.
What would you like it to read? First bullet point.
After curriculum, have a comma and then put, but the school and pupils were meeting the challenge.
Anyone?
Right.
Okay.
I propose we accept those with councillor Sanders.
Any seconds? Anyone?
Yeah, I'll second it.
No? Okay, there's a couple of matters arising.
No, that's actually on the agenda. No, see, it's had to be removed, which was minutes.
Right, the London Rose seat was visited and it's actually sheared off, so that's been removed. And I think the working party have got an action to look at long-lasting seats, so it'd be worth bearing in mind as a working party that seat's no longer there because it was dangerous.
Yeah, thank you. That's not inconsistent with the report of the working party. I apologise that I haven't circulated the report that they went on there. But it's not inconsistent, so I don't think there's any immediate reaction to that.
Yes, the letter about you objected to the...
Oh, right, yeah. This is Nick Shaw again. He's not a happy man that we objected to the proposed parking changes at Eatonbury School. Basically, he's saying, with an underline here, this is not a scheme to address parking issues at the school. This is proposed to increase the safety of vulnerable road users. So he's implying that we've objected on the wrong grounds, but nevertheless we objected, he didn't like it. He's going to let us know when this will be taken to the delegated decisions meeting, that was formerly known as traffic management, and so that a town representative can attend and put forward their position on this matter. I know Councillor Livermore's not here tonight, was the most vociferous in opposition to it, but I'm sure he'd be happy to attend, but if anyone else... It doesn't say, he says let us know when it is.
Be interested to know when it is.
So if we let Councillor Ward and Councillor Livermore know. So the key message is they believe we've misunderstood their intent, not happy that we've objected, but that is obviously our right. and we're being invited to be involved in putting forward our position on the matter and possibly understanding a bit more their side of it. Was that part of the agenda?
That's on the agenda.
Okay. So, finance, income and expenditure. To receive and approve a copy of the detailed report of income and expenditure. That's in the pack. Any questions on that, or can we have a proposal to accept?
Councillor Ward wanted the earmarked reserves, which you'll find on the first page of trial balance. But because the general reserve nothing comes out left to the end of the financial year, I've done a secondary spreadsheet of all the expenditure that we've so far.
Yeah, I did see it.
I had that.
I've struggled to get my head around it, so I'll probably just go and pick it up at some point.
Do you propose to accept? Second? Everyone in agreement? Petty cash, to receive and approve copies of petty cash details for the Resource Centre and Town Council for June 2015 month 3. 9B.
Sorry. I have a question on this, because the two sides of the petty cash statement are calculated in different ways. I don't know which is the front side, but the sheet that's labelled 9B, there's a breakdown of cash, £29.11 at the start of the month, an expenditure of £7.62, leading to a closing balance of £21.49. But the actual report is cash left on in the top right hand corner is £28.51. So those three numbers don't agree, but if you turn the page over and do the same calculation on the other side, you start with 74.22, you spend 85.60, you add 54, and you end up with 42.62, which does agree with the total.
That side is the town council one.
Yeah.
The other one is the resource centre. And
They calculate in different ways.
she's got the closing balance around the wrong way, hasn't she? She's got 28.51 should be the closing balance.
Yeah.
I'll get it. It should be the same as the town council because the template was the same, but I'll make sure it does turn out the same next month.
Thank you, Councillor Ferris. You performed well on holiday.
Just a small point on 9B. The breakdown at the 31st of May. We've got Town denomination number 1, then 0.
Sorry?
Yeah.
The 31st of May breakdown. Denomination 10, number 1, amount 0.
That's suggesting you've got,
Oh,
you either got 10 or you haven't got a 10.
that's
I think, yeah.
yeah, that's
So-
not resource centre. Yeah, okay. I'll
The numbers
sort
are-
that out.
Wrong.
I think we propose that we don't approve that one until it gets fixed.
I'd be happy to approve the office.
Okay,
Okay,
the,
yeah.
not approved, everyone happy with that? And then we'll come back. Good. Accounts payment.
It's in the shares.
Any questions on accounts payment? Not as a proposal to accept.
Yeah. Propose to accept.
Councillor Whiteman, seconder. Still standing. All those in favour? Point D, it says receive a report. Well, I think we agreed at the last meeting that reports would be in time to go out with the agenda, and we've not received a report, so I assume that's carried forward, is it?
Well, it was completed today because Gertie's been away, so between the two of us we've agreed the scope of the work for the year. So between the next step would be to provide that to the clerk to then circulate to interested parties to undertake the work.
Should that come to council then, in the next meeting?
Yeah, the scope of the audit should be approved by council.
Okay, well, so that question.
So if you could get that ready to go in the agenda for the 4th of August, which would be 6 days before.
Yeah, it's done. It's
Get
done
it to
today.
Clark, get it
Yeah.
to Leslie anytime, yeah. Okay. And then I had an action, this goes back to CAPLC and NALC, and what was the difference in costs basically. And from what I've been able to ascertain is we are a member of BAPC, which we pay for, and to become a member of NALC you have to be a member of BAPC paid up, which we are, and the cost is 5.6 pence per person on the electorate, which I think is around 3,000, is it in Arlesey? I don't know the exact
It's
number.
about 4,000. Yeah, it's just under 4,000.
So it's going to be about 200 and odd pounds, isn't it? 5.6.
Well, it's expense.
At 3,000 it's £168, I worked that one out. So the difference between being a member of NALC as a council, which you can join as a body, and being members of CAPLC is quite significant, because that's £30 per councillor per year, and you join individually. It might be worth us, a lot of us, in fact all of us, are attending training with representatives from BAPC on Thursday. It might be worth discussing whilst we're there the benefits of NALC versus CAPALC, and then making a decision beyond that, I suppose. But discharge the action, which was work at the costs. NALC is cheaper because we pay BAPC anyway, which is the preliminary thing that you have to do. Okay, good. Neighbourhood plan, Councillor Watt.
Yeah, so since the last meeting we had the stall at the Fun Day, which was relatively well attended. A few people just wandered in because they were there on the day. Had a few more people sign up to say they were interested. A lot of people sort of like asking what was going on, so all positive there. And at the last meeting we've come up with some working parties which are in the process of being put together at the moment. There's further information on the Arlesey Neighbourhood Plan website on what they're basically covering things like housing, traffic, environments, sports and recreation, shops and services, footpaths and cycleways, and one or two others as well. Slip my mind at the moment. And obviously we're still open for any residents who want to sort of get involved to come along to any of the meetings. Just drop us an email at any time. And the next event is we are having a briefing session in here in the Village Hall next Tuesday, which is being run by Alison Erdley, who's the consultant from Navigus. So it's a briefing session for people who are going to be on the working party, and it's really just to set expectations, give some help and guidance on how those working parties should form, what their objectives should be, etc. So that's going to be here. So that's the next major step on that. And certainly again, anybody's willing to just turn up on the night. 7:30 starts. Also,
That's not a public meeting.
it's not a public meeting, but the public are welcome to come on. So it's not a council meeting. It's not. It's a briefing session. So So basically, Alison, the consultant, is just going to just give some advice to the people who work on the working costs on how to get the best results as quickly as possible. The housing needs survey is still out there in the public domain at the moment. We're urging people to fill that in, all residents if possible. The deadline for the completion of that is the 14th of August. The paper version went out, a copy of the paper version went out to every household in Arlesey towards the end of a couple of weeks ago, but there is an online version as well. And again, you can find details of the links, etc., on the Arlesey neighbourhood plan website. And I think that's about it. I think the only other thing, just to pick up on, which Councillor Wenham spoke about last week, is that the neighbourhood plan has become ever more important because they lost the appeal against the development in Henlow, or Atlanta, sorry, a few weeks back. So that is extremely important. If a developer comes up with a plan to build some houses, it's more than likely going to get approved rather than not. At the moment, there's nothing in the pipeline in Arlesey, as far as we're aware. And the other piece on planning applications is that we are expecting a planning application for the main road from the A507 to come in soon. I don't know whether soon means weeks, months, or what. I'm not quite sure. Certainly, it is being prepared at the moment, and that'll be the first stage of the audit cross development, will be the application for that road.
Thank you, John. Item 11, Councillor McGregor can't be here tonight. He circulated his playground report with the agenda, and I've got from him some recommendations that he's making, and that's the task that we gave him to go through this report and advise council what we should do. I'll read it out. If you've got the report in front of you, it does refer to pages on there. So page 1 identifies potholes causing trip hazard on the footpath leading to the play area. This was identified in the previous report, and Councillor McGregor suggested to the council we need to get a cost to rectify this problem, and if this is a CBC path, they should be notified. So, Ashley, Leslie, we'll do that. Page 2 identifies the need for an ownership sign. As a council, we should purchase one, or possibly two. They should be erected near the entrances to the play area. Play area signage should include name of operator of the site, contact details to report damage or incidents. Where the authority has a permanent office, this should include a telephone number. Location of the nearest public telephone for contacting emergency services. And a pictogram, no dogs, signs are also strongly recommended. Everybody happy with that recommendation?
Are there two entrances to the playground? Where's the other entrance?
Other side, one side.
There's only two on the playground.
Where is the nearest public telephone?
The nearest one is over
Outside
there.
the
Don't
source.
think there's a phone in it.
That's how the version.
All right, okay.
Are dog signs not already in the pipeline anyway?
Well, councillor,
There's no dog sign in good order in the line above.
I thought we were getting new dog signs.
That was through various areas throughout all Arlesey, yeah. There's a whole list.
I'm not sure on that, I'm just reading what it said. I don't know.
I mean, the fact it says good order suggests that it's okay.
Yeah.
It's just not got a
Pictogram.
pictogram.
So I took that as there will be a picture of a dog doing whatever they do with a hazard line across it. Perhaps we can look at that.
I think it just says a dog actually.
And Page 2 also identifies a bolt missing on the junior multiplay. We should instruct CPM to replace this or provide a bolt for the ATC ground staff to replace. Take it as read, I guess.
Which one is that?
Page 2.
Yeah, what
Junior
one?
multiplay unit. Obviously.
In page 3, surfaces identified no bark on the spring seesaw. Junior multiplay requires topping up and the swings require topping up. ATC should hold a supply of appropriate bark. Ground staff should be checking this every day they're at work and topping up and raking. Raking the bark will allow any unwanted or dangerous objects to be identified and removed. No brainer really, is it?
Okay.
So we'll accept that.
Yeah, the only thing about the bark is it should be a lot deeper, so Andrew needs to have quite a depth of wood surround made before he then can have the bark. The amount of wood is probably £400 to £500 plus the bark on top, which is not money, whether it would be beneficial to look at different surfaces instead.
Can I just say, can we look into a different surface? Because it says about the bark topping, but our maintenance lads only works so many days. So all the other days, which I think includes Friday, then follows on, is it Thursday, Friday, Andrew doesn't work.
He doesn't normally, but as of September he is coming back to work full time. But for the moment it's normally
I was
Monday,
just
Tuesday,
thinking
Wednesday or
it
Thursday.
means quite a few days where it's not being checked.
So shall we feed that back to Councillor McGregor to discuss with his play person in
Well, I'm
terms
just,
of services?
another alternative to building a higher frame all the way around it is to take out what's there and dig deeper.
Dig deeper, yeah.
You don't have to raise anything around it.
Yeah.
It would save money.
Yeah, and you,
Need to speak to these people.
Yeah, I think which Rob does, I think we should get Rob to go back on that point.
Because I mean that the surface underneath the two new bits of equipment is great, it's really springy.
Don't spend much time playing in it.
No.
We'll go back to what they call CPM, playgrounds. Rob will go back. Page 4 identifies graffiti on the pro-ludic team shelter. I visited the site of the weekend and both shelters have graffiti. Some of the graffiti is very offensive. Graffiti should be removed. The ATC ground staff should be checking this weekly and with correct equipment be removing the graffiti. I would recommend that a professional company carry out the initial removal of the graffiti and the clerk obtain quotes for the same.
Yeah, I know that particular graffiti, I don't know what they used to paint it on with, but Andrew and Matt have tried and they can't remove it.
So I guess Councillor Griggs
Probably the
will-
best thing is to repaint it, but then that'll probably be a nice canvas for them to start down.
Yeah, but a professional company may know something else.
There's the railways use paint, doesn't have graffiti on it, can't graffiti on it. It's in buildings, yeah.
Would not be a good idea to let the young people paint murals on it, and then they would get the graffiti by it.
Why not?
They did do that with the kickboard one side, they had some professional artists in and they did this mural, and I don't think it's been vandalised too much.
I mean, if you involve the youth in it, in doing it, they might be a bit more reluctant to come in.
that's a good shout.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sort of agree, but I think we have to break it down into easy to do stages, which is get the graffiti cleaned off. We may need a professional company to do that, and then speak to them about how usual it is and how easy it is to encourage constructive decoration. They may say we'll never do that because it just encourages something else. Or they may say, yes, everybody does that, use this paint. But if we can get them in to do the cleaning, we've got past step one, and then we didn't have another step.
So we're agreeing with the proposal on item 4, and perhaps Cathy will bring that proposal forward at some point. And then he's got a footnote. This is the second report that I've seen, and overall the play equipment and services are good. However, when a report identifies issues, as a council we should be acting on the recommendations of the report, which I believe is what we've just done with Rob's advice.
Yeah.
So well done, Rob. Number 12, Councillor Scott. Proposal on Red Bears Children's Centre.
In retrospect, I'm not sure if we hadn't already decided this, but
You weren't here last time.
no, but
We carried it over.
I thought we'd already made a decision on it ages ago. It's just I went to the last meeting of Red Bear, and I think it would be good if we had a representative to attend all the meetings. And I'm happy to continue. That's agreeable with council.
Councillor happy with that? Okay, number 13. You remember this is the street light that's attached to a house and shines in a lady's bedroom, and has done for some years, I believe, and she wrote us an interesting letter about it. I'll read out her reply. This is the Louise Randall, who's not the daughter of Councillor Jim Randall. Hello Leslie, I thought I'd noticed a difference last night, but thought it must have been me. I can still see the light through the blinds, but it's no longer illuminating my bedroom, which is brilliant. Obviously, if the light could be moved, changed to a less brighter light, that would be amazing, but I'm very grateful for the difference the diffuser has made, so many, many thanks. To go further and move the light to the other side of the road would require cost and neighbours getting involved. So I think discuss this with Leslie this afternoon. For someone to be saying it's brilliant and they're very grateful and using many, many thanks, I think they've made the resident happy.
I thought the problem in the first place was it was too brilliant. Now it's just brilliant.
Okay, Councillor Saal was going to come along with a more competitive quotation for the Wishing Well lights.
I do apologise, I haven't been able to do it yet. I've asked Leslie today, she'll send me details of the wattage, etc. because the supplier asked for further details. And I also stated that I've been trying to get hold of a local electrician who lives in Arlesey to see whether he wanted to donate his time to actually do it if the lights prove cheaper, and the council want to go ahead on that road. It might be that the other quotes are cheaper, but as soon as I've got the details, the firm said they'll get back to me pretty quick.
Will that be by August 4th? Next meeting, August 4th? Or the 2nd August meeting?
The 2nd August meeting, just in case I can't get hold of the electrician. But as it's light at night, nobody notices at the moment. The lights aren't actually.
So that'll be on the agenda for the 18th of August.
Lovely.
Number 15, Councillor Ward, Health and Safety Audit.
So, yes, so at the last meeting we agreed to proceed with one of the quotes we had, Mark France, to come and conduct the health and safety audit. Fortunately, he was able to come just 2 days later, actually, and to undertake that in conjunction with Leslie and the rest of the staff. Unfortunately, he's had an accident himself since. So it wasn't here, no. But he's suffering with his sight, so he apologises for the delay in submitting the full report. But he's given me some comments, which I can quickly just feed back to you. Quite encouraging, but some areas of concern as well. His first reassurance was that accident potential is fortunately reasonably low due to very positive behaviours and attitudes observed by the staff, so that was encouraging. There are a number of actions though that have arisen from his observations, particularly with regard to documentation, risk assessments, accident reporting, provision, training, fire, risk assessment, and procedures for fire evacuation, test alarms and that kind of thing. It's a little bit ambiguous as to whether it's our responsibility or central beds, and that's one of the main areas which he says needs to be investigated further. He indicated a number of statutory inspections and certificates are managed by CBC, but ultimately if we have employees here, then we need to take responsibility for ensuring they're in place. And some more specific risk assessments: manual handling, driving at work, litter picking, use of ladders, use of equipment for hand that incurs hand vibration, needs to be investigated a little bit further. But as I say, positively, as a whole, these are the team are very positive and demonstrated a lot of common sense, which is encouraging as an employer. That's what you want to see. He's given an indicative score as well, which he says is as you would expect for any company who's not had a lot of experience or exposure to training or a previous audit. And he says there are a number of key actions which you can implement pretty quickly to get you up to a reasonably satisfactory score. He's promised to report early next week, and I'll feed that back and circulate around as soon as it arrives.
Good. Thanks, Councillor Ward. Progress. Oh, right, yeah. Have you got that email? I didn't press it out. It's one line. Rob's. Okay, then, 16, Councillor McGregor's not here. His only update is there's not a report available yet. He said that there has been progress made by the working party and that they will be putting together a report in the near future. I don't know who's on the working party with him who can endorse that. I just said. Who's on the working party? Can do it? Councillor Holloway, McGregor. Appears he wasn't expecting it to be on the agenda anyway, but it is progressing and there will be a report coming to, or proposal coming to council when they're completed their
Will
work.
that be by next meeting? Because I think it's getting quite urgent. Could he be asked?
I don't think he said in the email, but I can go back to him and say.
Yeah, I think you need sorting.
Sure.
What was the timeline?
Yeah.
Because it's not going to be
Yeah,
a
it's
one-stop
not going to be
shop.
next meeting, but we have some sort of timeline because
4th of August.
Mr. Chairman, just so that doesn't, just reading back the minutes, Councillors Alden, McGregor and Sarwell were the working party.
We haven't met.
I was going to say, I don't know why I was on that one.
And Stanbury, according to the
Was it while I was away?
according to the document, the working party is the one that Leslie sent round. No, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. No, sorry. Committees wasn't on that one.
Agreed at last meeting, I think.
I think you were.
Yeah, minute 138.
I've not had any emails about it.
Number 5.
Councillor Holloway. Well, whenever we need to feed back to Councillor McGregor that we want some urgency put behind it. And ask for a report, an update on the 4th of August.
And if they'd like to contact the others, they did know they wanted.
Sure, Councillor Holloway. copy you two on the email.
Thank you.
So the next, Quality Council status, which no longer exists, it's now called the Local Council Award Scheme. And there are three levels. They're called Foundation, Quality and Quality Gold. And Leslie's looked into this and she started going through a tick sheet of where we comply already with governance, community and development. And Leslie's also identified that there is a showstopper to getting even foundation, and that is you mustn't have had a comment in the where is it?
It's the external qualified opinion is not given.
Yeah. So potentially the debacle over holiday pay could well be mentioned in that box on this year's audit, which means we wouldn't be eligible for anything. There are costs involved in getting this. There's £50 to start off and then a further £50 to £65, depending on your, it's over £100. What I discussed with Leslie this afternoon, and I'd like to propose how we take this forward, is that for this year, because we've got an opportunity to spend the money and get a thing in the box without getting the foundation, that we monitor where we are, which shows us where we would fall down on governance or community. We can put our own corrective action plan in place to address those issues. And then next year, when we will have a clear audit, go forward for it if we wish to.
And the advantages of being recognised, because the quality status you used to have greater discretion over your funding and what activities you could get involved with. I can't remember exactly the wording, but currently, previously, a normal council could only do what it was allowed to do. But then if you were quality status, you could do anything that was not restricted by law. It was a slight difference. So I don't know quite how this award scheme affects that. I mean, that was my reasoning behind including it within the strategy statement.
The quality one meets the eligibility criteria for the general power of competence. So,
Okay, so it's similar time.
yeah, I don't know what the foundation is. Some from the foundation one. There.
To achieve this foundation, the council demonstrates as the minimum documentation and information in place for operating lawfully and according to standard practice. The council also has policies for training councillors, officers as a board of the foundation for improvement and development. Doesn't say you get anything for that.
Are the costs one-off costs or ongoing, or?
Well, then, if you want to go quality gold status, then there's another.
Obviously, are you going to assess each year?
I think it's assessed over 4. Well, you have the status for 4 years.
Right.
There's quite a few councils have got it. Ampthill, Barnes, Pickle, Bonham, Dunstable, Henlow, Outrageous, Stopford's got it, Sandy.
I think if you were quality status previously, you could also consider transfer over.
Only to foundation level, not
Right.
quality. That has to be done before the end of February.
So I'd like to propose that Leslie goes through this and monitors and advises the council as though we were doing it, and then we could take a call in 2016. I've got a second for that. Are you happy with that?
I mean, maybe the external audit will come back and we haven't got any bad marks against us, but I know that's now being completed, but I haven't received the documentation back yet.
Do we need to vote on that or not?
Pardon?
Do we need to vote on that or not?
Right.
Proposed?
Those in favour? Unanimous? Number 18, mission statement, Councillor Ward.
Yes, at the last meeting I shared the reasons behind the mission statement that I pulled together and the strategy document. There are a number of comments, and particularly around the quality status aspiration, which is built into the strategy. And I invited comments back ahead of this meeting as to whether people felt there was anything else that needed to be amended or adjusted. I've not received anything substantial, so the question really is what do people want to do? I mean, I would propose that we adopt the document, clearly, but I don't know whether there's any other comments, suggestions from people. There's a few tweaks that we will need to make following those comments on the quality status, change the terminology, and say that well, I would suggest that we still say we aspire to the award standard. Not necessarily putting a time frame on it, I did put XX years, but we can take that out as well. So I don't know.
So there's been feedback. Has anyone got anything else to add before we take a vote on this?
I think it was well received, wasn't it?
So Councillor Ward's made a proposal that we adopt it. Is there a seconder for that? Councillor Stanbury. Those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you.
So will you tweak it and,
Yeah, I'll make those
because that's one of the things that can establish statements in the status.
Yeah. So I'll make those minor changes and send them through to send them around to everybody, just give them an overview.
Yeah. Okay. Number 19, community events. Councillor Saar.
I'd like to form, if the council is in agreement, not a events committee or working party, but a community events group, ordered by the council. I see this as contacting all the local organisations and schools and churches, etc., and the residents, and pull together a events group, community events group, to organise things through the year, including what is at the moment called the Fun Day. There's a lot of things people say they would like. The old-fashioned horticulture show later on in the year with flower arranging competition, photography, etc., like we used to have. But I would like it to be run by the council, but the group is the residents doing it as well. Regarding budget on this sort of thing, we've got in the next few years, we've got the Queen's Jubilee, 65 years, we've got her 90th birthday, and within the next 10 years, 12 years, we've got a coronation. Now,
Queen will be pleased with that.
we have, and we've got no budget, no money being put aside each year to cover events like that. It's always just been, I think it's 1,500, is it, Leslie?
Yes.
1,500 as a budget for events in the village. You know, and speaking to residents of the Fun Day, a lot of them said they don't care if it puts their rates up a fraction. If they have, they don't. If there's things that bring the community together, and quite a few mentioned the Jubilee coming up, etc. But a lot of people want to get involved, and I think what a golden opportunity to bring the community together. I don't mind initially sort of bringing it together, all the different groups, and the first meeting I think should be perhaps after the summer holidays, because a lot of people are away. But when you think the Fun Day should really start being organised now, not later on, because all the good things have already been booked. But people have got so many ideas. The second thing is, there always used to be in the office an events calendar, so that if, say, the WI were going to hold something, they could go and have a look. Oh yes, so-and-so's got on such and such a Saturday. We better not do it that Saturday, so nothing clashed. And that was in the office, and I think we should start using that again. And anybody who was organising anything, asked for it to be put on the events calendar for the village. So nothing, because this last year there was a lot of things that had to be cancelled at the last moment, because it was a very good cause, somebody raising money to do with the jamboree, and they had to raise money themselves. But a lot of other organisations had to cancel their planned Christmas activities because they knew nobody would, want to go so often. So I think that would be a good idea as well. And I would like to ask your thoughts as a council on that ideas.
Well, I sort of try and keep us to standing orders, and that's when we're not in line with them with what we're doing at the moment. I think that there's a lot of ideas there from Councillor Saal, which I think we probably need to get structured a little bit more coherently, because they're going off every which way. And I certainly know, having discussed on a number of occasions with Geoffrey Bolt, there's a strong desire to go back to that joint St Peter's and Arlesey Town Council fate as it used to be, and he's very supportive of that. Equally, there's a clash with St Peter's Day, or whatever I understand, with other activities, so there's a lot of things that you say there. I think it would be good if you could coordinate ideas both from council and from other bodies. We've got Arlesey Residents Association people here tonight who I know organise a number of things, and there are other bodies who do. And perhaps we can come back with a coherent proposal. I think we have to be very sensitive about someone down the rec saying I wouldn't mind the rates going up to pay for entertainment.
That was quite a few people actually stated that they don't mind paying for events within the village that bring the community together. And they didn't mind, several, not just one. And I said, but to put money by in the budget, you'd have to put the precept up. So we don't get much fun in Arlesey. Let's have some fun.
I'm not,
and
personally, I'm not sure that the council should be funding everything that
No.
facilitates or organises. The community should be funding it.
a lot of them were regards to fund day on that, with regards to how it, what money spent, what activities, what things that you could bring there that they know cost money.
I would think that if we do get to the stage where we get more things going, they possibly could be self-funding.
Oh yeah, definitely. Any money made would go back into a...
Obviously the fund day, not because it's done for charity, but I think other events, they could generate income that will then be held back into other events. So in the long run, I don't think it probably would affect the budget, because it would be self-funding.
Because you'd share out to the different organisations that were helping organise it anyway, so...
Yeah, I was just going to say similar kind of thing. I think there's a lot of people out there who are willing to give of their own time and expertise free of charge. We've had people come forward and say that. People who do entertainment for children for a living and that kind of thing. So you can make it better without necessarily incurring extra costs. I think what the council and some of the gifted individuals involved staff and councillors could do is support a sort of coordinating function, bringing people together and saying this is what we'd like to do. We've got the school as well, and taking a more prominent role, I think, in activities for the village. So coordinating with them and other bodies, perfect.
So to summarise where I've got no more hands up, then we should give it some thought. We should feed into Sandra, do some more research, and we'll come back to this perhaps 18th of August.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, can I contact different organisations to see what they think of an idea?
Certainly find out what
Yeah.
they want. Yeah.
I didn't want to go ahead and do that, and then the council say
Is everyone
that
happy
we shouldn't
with
have gone off on
Yeah.
the road.
You need
Yeah.
to do that to coordinate
That's
ideas.
right, yeah.
You can't follow us in any-
That's right, yeah,
It's a great idea, Simon.
yeah.
Do you want me to set up a events calendar?
Yes, could you?
And I'll advertise on the website.
Yeah, lovely.
And if you can tell everybody you're contacting
Yeah,
to let us know.
brilliant.
Just one thing on the events calendar, just thought it may be worth contacting neighbouring councils, villages, so that we've got their events as well, so we don't start having our fun day on the same day as Stockport, Sleep Fair or whatever it might be.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Okay, allotment field, this was me. I circulated a proposal. I'm assuming everyone has read and absorbed it. As I mentioned, I also gave a copy and had some discussion with Councillor Delgado, because this really came about because of what Housing Members You was planning with the Blue Lagoon, and I needed to make sure it didn't tread on any toes there, which it doesn't. And I've had further conversations with Councillor Delgado, and he spoke at the weekend with Councillor Dixon, and there was a lot of support from them for a proposal along these lines. I had a number of questions and comments from councillors, which I'll just reply to add, so you've got the full picture, so you've got the proposal before we move on to discussing the proposal. So there was a comment that residents along Hillary Rise, when there was a survey done up there, complained that they used to have allotments at the bottom of their garden that they lost. This must have been a lot of years ago, and they wouldn't mind having them back at some point. I'm not aware, and Leslie will tell me if I'm wrong, that there's been any formal request for those allotments back or any allotment back.
No, we had somebody come out
Yeah,
and spoke, and then somebody spoke since saying that other residents along there would like, but the one gentleman who was really put out to say that he'd had his took off bin. He had two actually, and then he took off and told it was closed.
that's informal.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of any formal. And there is another question I have, because this came up when I was involved in an allotment meeting before, and I never really did get to one of it, but they shouldn't really have access from those houses to that field, and the housing association is responsible for a boundary there that they don't maintain. So it's not clear to me that when we do get the boundaries of that land sorted out, which they're not sorted at the moment, whether or not there will be access. But having said that, allotment space could be made down one side of that, down the western side of the whole or part of it, or allotment space could be added to the current allotments, which I didn't include in the report, and that may be helpful moving forward. There was also, Sandra said that the conservation area might not sit well in the adjacent farm or wildflower seeds and so on. Well, I understand, and I've been advised again by a councillor, that under the LDF, down the whole side of that piece of land, Hillary Rise allotments and the bear that land at the moment, there will be both a footpath and a cycleway, so there's going to be a much wider border there when the master plan is invoked anyway, because that is a key part of the layout, which I remember from seeing that before. So there's going to be a bigger gap. And looking at the size of the land, I don't want to put words in the committee's mind when they do it, but there probably would need to be some kind of hedging down there. So I think wildflower seed pollution, like right on the edge, I don't think would be an issue. And likewise, people's land gets polluted by rape seeds blown everywhere.
Well, I
So
would
there's,
also say that the existing allotments, if the wildflowers were down that end,
yeah.
I don't think they'd be very pleased.
Yeah. But it's something we could definitely, the committee, I think we could take into account. And also, I've had quite a lengthy interchange with Chris Livermore about the rules governing the change of lease. There would have to be a change of lease terms, and councils changing lease of land from allotments to something else does not seem very favourably at all. So I think there would be a need for it to be still allotment land and a lease with mixed use. Councillor Delgado is very keen, and that's where Councillor Dixon comes in, to guide us through that and, if you like, help address some of the bureaucratic hurdles. Just feedback on the input I've had from yourselves. So the proposal really for tonight is in three parts. It's that the council agrees in principle, subject to points 2 and 3, to grant Arlesey Membership Project permission to design, create and open a public memorial crops and conservation area on this land. 3 councillors are on the Arlesey Membership Committee, steering committee, so there will be a lot of overlap, if you like. And in preparation for that to happen, the bureaucratic and other hurdles have got to be identified so that they can be considered if such a project can work or not. And that's planning, change of lease, use of land, establish the actual borders, ownership of such. And I'm proposing that a documented summary of that could be provided by Arlesey membership within a month. By the way, Arlesey membership still got to meet to discuss whether they want to do this, but I've discussed it with most of the committee. And then once that's complete, then come back to council to seek a formal resolution to proceed. The reason that I proposed it in that way is that, as I think I put in the document, but just to clarify it, Arlesey membership does have money for this and does have a track record of raising money when something needs to be done for the community. They also have a track record of getting the community engaged to do things, and there's a whole lot of people lined up to do this. Was going to be done at the Blue Lagoon. It would be much better, I think, if we could do it in the village where older people can go, where disabled people can go, so it seems positive. So that's the proposal I'd like to make.
Sorry, I should have asked earlier, but the one thing I don't wonder you could tell me is how much of that land would it take up? Have you sort of thought about that?
I have. I've walked around a lot. It's massive, that land.
Yeah, I know.
So if you're taking into account the proposal that was on the table was leave it, I think we got to last time. So this proposal said there would be the memorial copse, which would be a quiet area for people to go, there would be trees. We had a design that's kindly done by Roger from Amenity Trees. I believe he will be happy to rejig that design for the land there. I can't see it taking up any more than half, 2/3 of the length maximum, and it shouldn't take up the whole width. But I think what we need to do is, if we can give them the go-ahead to look at it, as was done at the Blue Lagoon, a plan be drawn up where all the trees would go, where the memorial stone go, where the seats would go, see where that would reasonably fit, and then the proposal was about it being a conservation area was really some discussion in council last time about it is like a conservation area. Certainly if you wander in it, there's wonderful flowers, there's wonderful insects, and I'm sure rodents and all sorts. And there's the opportunity to have one side of it as allotments, but that needs just planning out. So yeah, it's massive. It's far too big.
Yeah, yeah.
On the point about allotments, having looked down there, it seems that some of the existing allotments aren't taken up, so that might be relevant.
There's one that isn't let out at the moment.
But some of them seem...
I know, they get let out if you don't keep them.
So some of them in a state of disarray at the moment. I agree with you because we were looking at them the other day. There was a gentleman who had 2 or 3 allotments who unfortunately died recently, and his have certainly, they haven't taken over, they've got people taking them over, but he's been pretty ill for a long while, so that's let them go. But we have a meeting, I have a meeting with the allotment holders next Wednesday, and I should certainly be putting that on the table.
Because it will obviously make a difference if there's high demand for allotments and they're not satisfied by the existing.
Yeah.
No.
I said before, I think we could promote it more in the village. I think there's people who live in the village who don't know about
It's your 3 minutes, Tom.
It's the proposal.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Oh.
Can I just make a point about it before we propose it? I don't object to anything now, I think it's all a good idea. I'm just not quite sure item 3 is really a proposal. Maybe we should make it a note. Because we're proposing that when 2 other proposals are completed,
Okay.
we make a further vote, we make a further decision.
Right.
So it's really a note, it's not.
Yeah.
We're voting
On one and two.
to delay a vote until later.
Totally agree. We're trying to be thorough. Right, that's number 3 off, that's true.
But leave it as a note to say only when 1, 2 completed will 3 be brought back to us.
Everybody understood that?
Leslie, I need to declare an interest on this point, should have declared it earlier, so I've got 2 family members heavily involved with Arlesey energy, so I'll sit this vote out.
Just make a note.
I'm not sure if I need to declare an interest in it as well, being energy.
Yeah, certainly Jason and myself shouldn't be able to vote on it. I can propose it.
I was involved as well, I suppose.
How many houses do you need? Even though I have nothing to do with the farm, the land next to it.
As long as there's
If
5
my
of us left to vote,
husband's-
we're all right.
That is declared an interest.
I don't think I have any.
Is there a second of the proposal?
Yes. Yeah.
Many as you want, then choose someone. Councillor Scott. And those in favour, we need a show of hands here. Those in favour? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do you want to record these?
I'm in favour, but can I vote because I've declared an interest?
Declare interest.
You can abstain.
So who were the 6?
Hands up again, sorry. Lynn, Scott, Stanbury, Frost, Randall, Ferris, Want. Anybody against? Any abstentions? That's carried. I'll take that to answer remembers you and make sure the answer is got, because if the answer's no, it's going nowhere anyway. Okay, here's my representative reports. Have we any representative reports? Not sure what this is about. Okay, so, no.
Not greenery or
I couldn't make
being
one.
red.
totally on the community safety group, is it? Rather not. I don't think they've met at all.
They haven't because they're not in our themselves.
Okay.
Okay, public participation on items arising from this evening's meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Your play report every month comes out, and every month it's the same issue. And if you'd like to go back to the very first report that it came out, the same things get raised each and every month, isn't it? Nothing seems to happen, so it looks like you're paying a lot of money to get a good service, but for whatever reason, people are not implementing what the report is saying needs to be done. Can you start acting and not just paying on the report to be done, so you actually get the stuff done? Because it comes around and says every month the play park, the footpath, which CBC were made aware of last year, okay, and Arlesey Town Council has asked about match funding to get it resurfaced, because that bit by the school is owned by CBC, okay, and I gave the council, the clerk, the guy at the council, the footpath guys, details, okay. My second point, you've had a health and safety audit. Does that mean to say that the fire extinguisher on the stage is now free of rubbish? The fire exit on the stage, you don't need a sledgehammer to get through, and the corrosive chemicals that are stored backstage, have they been removed, and is there a cost sheet for those chemicals?
Okay, I'll answer two questions briefly. Thank you for the questions. The first one, you obviously didn't hear earlier on that Councillor McGregor did point out the same point that you've made. I'll read it for you again. This is the second report that I've seen, and overall the play equipment and services are good. However, when a report identifies issues, as a council we should be acting on the recommendations of the report, and prior to that we did discuss 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items which we've actually agreed at this meeting to act on. So your point's well put, we were there. On the second point, I think you'll have heard that we had an interim report on the health and safety audit. When the gentleman's eyes are better, we will get the full report, I think, for the 4th of August, and we'll make a point of seeing that the points that you raised then, which some certainly I'm familiar with, are covered by his report, or if they're not covered by his report, then obviously they're not issues. So thank you very much.
Can I respond, Mr. Chair?
Again?
Can I respond back to you? 2 of the issues can be sorted out, right, literally within 2 minutes if you give me 2 minutes of your time.
Well, we'll get the audit back and then we will...
Just move the rubbish from the front of the fire extinguishers and remove the corrosive chemicals. Sorted. No need to no need to have another meeting. If they're sorted and done, we don't need... That's why I told you, you can give me 2 minutes of your time, I can show you where they are, and then they can be disposed of.
I can find them and I'll take the point. Thank you very much. Any more participation? Thank you. So at this point, I need a proposer to resolve to exclude the public and press from the meeting under Section 1 of the Public Bodies Act 1960 by reason of the confidential nature of the next 6 agenda items. Another proposer? Second? Council in favour? Moving to